It's still day one of Ministravaganza. We're about to have so much fun. Still day one of Ministravaganza. And now we're going to paint some apocalypse terrain. Bow. Hello, welcome to day one of Ministravaganza. Thanks for tuning in. We're about to paint up some much anticipated terrain. Thanks for joining us. We just wrapped up the Cool Legion update refresh discussion, if you were watching. I'm going to say a lot, apparently. I need a cocoa. It's been a long day. I need a hot cocoa. A cozy cocoa for cozy paint times. Yeah, so this is about the Dark Future terrain set, or the what's called the Rejuvenation Chamber, for our boy Apocalypse. Much anticipated, much waited for character from Marvel Crisis Protocol. I have a set here that I've already painted. I'm going to show if someone would like to put it on that minicam. Yeah, someone get down some cocoa. Sweet tea and coffee. No, sweet tea, coffee, and cocoa. I'll take all three of those. Actually, not sweet tea. I don't like sweet tea, even though I'm from the South. I just like regular old tea. Anyways, so I painted up this train set. It's very reminiscent of what was done by Aaron Lovejoy for the studio set. There might be an article coming out. On how I did this, but we thought it'd be fun to do another take on it. So I prepped up this one, and I want to talk about why all the parts are off and kind of discuss some of that stuff. We're just going to paint this, and we're going to go with like this dark, moody take. I used a little airbrush to get a bit of highlighting. This is very black blue. And I did little spackles where I trigger the brush just a little bit, and it spats all over it, so there's like little dots. So we're just going to talk about this very cool terrain set and what's upcoming for our boy Apocalypse. Of all the Dallas Kemps in the world, he's one of them. You know, Jeremy, thanks. I don't need Jeremy's love and admiration, because he has mine, and that's good enough. Looks awesome, though I don't know much about MCP. Well, that's okay. You don't need to know much about MCP. It's a miniatures combat game of Marvel characters. You should check out your local game store if you're interested. And if you know anything about mutants and the merry mutants of the Marvel family, you know Apocalypse is a big bad and a terrifying entity. And this is his dope rejuvenation chamber we made. You can see here. Oh, sweet little spot. Is that on camera? Okay, sweet little spot for a base. Pretty dope. Like I said, this is just black, and then I added black. Hold your blue to black. Then I added more white, and then more white, and just kept highlighting little areas. And now we're just going to do some dry brushing and pick all the edges out, and just have some fun. Where the perimeter of the train is. That's where I use. Yeah, you could use this in Legion. It does come with a fill base. We want this dry brush really, really clean. And I'm just going to do a little flicking across the edge here. I want to just start picking out those edges. There we go. See how that's starting to pick out? Summer. Maybe just rule it that you don't have to climb on those cobblestones. I don't climb on the cobblestones. Just jump up on there. Oops. How did we paint this? So this is the same process. This is just grays. Looks like a scenic piece with a miniature. Summer Apocalypse comes with this, right? In the box? Right? Didn't we just look at the box? What's in the box? I like to use this as uninteractive terrain, non-interactive terrain, personally, because I want the rejuvenation station to stay on the table. Maybe it does something. Who knows? All the assumptions out there. So when we first designed this, this was a fun one. I actually have when we first started talking about Apocalypse, which was a long, long time ago, actually. We started, we'd already done Thanos, and we know Thanos has that really amazing throne. And we knew Apocalypse kind of wanted that sort of, we wanted Apocalypse to have sort of that same vibe and a really cool thematic element to come with him. And I did a few like little sketches, right? And then I had to make Schick wasn't quite convinced. So I made a little paper house out of tape and construction board, and it looked nothing like this. It's actually still in my office. It's like a little tiny pyramid kind of thing, and Apocalypse barely fit on it, and it just wasn't working. So we reiterated, and we had a concept artist do a few ideations and worked with him, and we came up with a whole bunch of ideas that ended up being the terrain sets that come out around Apocalypse. So oh yeah, this is standalone. This is standalone, and then the other set is standalone. And then Apocalypse comes with his little statue homies. I can never remember. Yeah, it's a whole wave, and it all came from like all these ideations, and it just turned into so much terrain, which was awesome, right? That we got so many ideas out of the concept ideation, and we came up with this really cool. I mean, there's even some things that just didn't even get made. It was really cool. Does it look like the back of one of your painting videos and the painted one look different? Does that mean there's options? The back of what? What are we talking about here, sweet tea? Because we haven't done this on painting videos, so I'm not sure what we're talking about. Unless I'm crazy. Was I sleeping and I did a video on this?
No, I think they're talking about the painted one right there next to it.
The painted one?
You mentioned you didn't have all the bits and bobs on this one you're painting right
Yeah, they're the same though. It just doesn't, the parts here are off for painting purposes. Just for painting purposes. But once we had this, we sent it over to the sculpting team. Evan King did I'm going to get his title wrong, sculpting manager, sculpted this. Did an awesome job of bringing it to life. And if you love Apocalypse, well, if you love Marvel Crisis Protocol and Apocalypse, you're going to want to watch the next stream and the next one. Today is Apocalypse Day. Bum, 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 bum. I'm pretty sure you still climb steps, technically. I mean, that's literally what you do, right? You climb a set of stairs. Zing. You wonder if that's a 50 or 65. I mean, you don't have to wonder. I'll tell you, it's a 65. Climbing steps is still time.
Dallas, Evan's proper title is Sculpting Director.
Sculpting director. Oh.
Oh yeah. Don't demote our man.
You know what? I'm just going to quit giving anyone credit because I keep getting it wrong. Make those bricks pop. Make those bricks pop, 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 pop. Was that Marco?
That corrected you?
Yeah.
No. It was Andy.
You know what? If anyone corrects me, it's Andy. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, eventually we're going to get lots of cool things. It all takes time. And everybody is somebody's favorite. We want everybody to have their favorite. I want to be really honest. We do want everybody to have their favorite. Rejuvenation chamber for Apocalypse. I'm just doing a little dry brush. Last year we went over a little bit, so we're going to be a little shy on this one. So I'm going to do as much as I can. Oop. We're going to keep it nice and simple. Let's do this cool. Apocalypse is absolutely a beefcake. Wait till you see him IRL. So I'm angling the brush straight down here. And you can see here I got like a little focus of highlight there and there. Just kind of creating some directional lighting. But I want to make sure I start picking all the edges with this big honking dry brush. Get that cool blue. I think that's the fascinating thing about, you know, I mean, we talk about all the things that make miniature games unique, right? Terrain, especially, right, is one of the most unique parts of the miniature hobby, right? When you're choosing and being interested into getting into miniature games, one of the distinctions is terrain. It's unlike anything else in gaming, right? So it's a part of it's a character in the game, and it's baked into the rules, right? It's baked into the DNA. It's such a vital thing, and we always want to kind of create terrain that's unique and interesting and fun and tells a cool story. This statue actually comes with this terrain set. This is the sarcophagus. So you can see here, the sarcophagus sits in the middle of the rejuvenation chamber. But I like doing a little, somebody in the last stream, last paint stream was asking about painting and painting terrain, and I mentioned like how important it is as one of the characters, and how you can do very fast, very basic painting on terrain and get a wonderful, quick result. So that's what we're going to try to do today, right? So I'm just flicking the edge here with a big old dry brush, picking out that edge to kind of give it a defined form. And I'm not super worried about brush strokes or any of that. It's all fine here. It's just terrain. It just creates a little texture. It's going to look good. It's going to look good. What color am I using? It's Hold Your Blue from Scale 75 and a little bit of Bold Titanium White from Procro Monument Paints. So this piece is going to go here eventually, but we want to get all the other parts painted first. So that's going to glue right there. I'm going to check that out while it's on there, make sure it's the way I want it. Just making sure the forms are reading, right? That's all we're really doing. Stoked more trains coming. Me too. I'm a little behind on my train painting. I've got I got a little bit of Asgard on the table and a couple of buildings, and I still have to finish. Summer, I still got to finish my my Wakanda terrain. I'm a little over half through with it, but I need to finish it. It's been a busy year. You know, I've got a lot of painting happening, and I'm trying my best, like we all are, right? That's all any of us are doing. Trying our best to be a good person, a regular painter. Oh, are you gonna have more of a dark rock theme? Yeah. My goal here is like, the studio one's a warm tone. I did this set in a warm tone. I thought a cool blue with maybe some red glow. Something a little more menacing and, real diabolical. Apocalypse is dope. I've had his first appearance for years, and I'm finally going through and finishing out that run. Just an excellent bad guy. And why was I saying that? Oh, Apocalypse. He's just dope. So I thought something a little more a little more menacing would be pretty cool for this train set. And then as you can see here, that's going to go like that. So I think let's pop one more highlight. So basically just adding more white. And I want my dry brush really, really dry. Summer, do you want to go to palette cam? That's how dry I want my brush. I want barely spitting paint. What slaps? What are we talking about? What slaps? I'm just going to be very selective. I want to emphasize the stairs. Maybe like a little beam of light cutting across. Maybe a little splash there, maybe a little more white. My hubby chose to watch this stream on TV over playing his early release. Well, hey, sweet tea and coffee, you tell your hubby dope. Dallas says dope. The whole team says dope. If you had a, what? We're here for it. If you had a big bad cage match, a Thanos Apocalypse and Onslaught, who do you think would come? Bull. Who would come out on top? I think it depends on who's writing it. I think it all depends on this. It all depends on the motives of the story, right? It all depends on the motives of the story. Yeah, me personally, I think Onslaught kind of comes out on top. I think Onslaught comes out on top. For like if I was writing it, like, well, I mean, somebody has to come out on top first, but then you have to have the rematch where we're like, you know, Thanos is just like, he beat me and he's a threat. I must team up with, you know, whatever team, you know. Kicking a little bit of white in there. We're just being real selective about where it goes. See, and if Josh was the comic writer, he'd be like, like that fight, Daredevil wins. Like, Daredevil wins. Daredevil comes in. Onslaught, Apocalypse, Thanos are having a tussle, and Daredevil comes in, grabs them all by the ear, and says, "Boys, you need to go home." And they're like, "Sorry, Daredevil." Yeah, sometimes the story, you know, it's about the story, you know. That's kind of what Marvel Crisis Protocol is about too, right? It's like sometimes 2-point Black Widow just, you know, baps Thor in the noggin and wins the day and gets scores on Montesi formula, and that's the story of the comic, of that, you know, of that issue, right? You know, but you have an arc. The games can be like a comic where it has an arc. You know, you might have a rematch with your friend later, and Thor comes back and does something amazing, right? And now you're telling a 3-part arc, right? Now you're telling a year-long crossover event, right? And so it's really interesting to like play these games and tell those stories and look at the narrative that just unfolds naturally out in front of you. And then put it into, you know, of course Thanos is a badass, right? We all know that, but, you know, Thanos loses sometimes. And So that's what happened in this game, right? Thanos lost. You know, he got his butt kicked. The defenders came in and they rallied around, and they figured out a way to get rid of him. And that's the story. That's the narrative, and that's the fun part. You know, even if you're competitively playing, there's still that little narrative bit there that's like telling that story that you and your opponent get to participate in. And once again, it's just part of that uniqueness of hobby miniature games that, you know, other games don't quite itch the same way. And that's okay, right? That's just what those games do, and that's what these games do. So it's my favorite part. Here comes Wong with the steel chair. By God, that man has a family. Yeah. What's my go-to Mojo Ball squad? I don't have one. I haven't got to play Mojo Ball yet. I was out of play tests. I was busy with other things during Mojo Ball, so I truly cannot. I'm answering full transparency. I've yet to play Mojo Ball, which makes me sad. Who would it be? I mean, I know who I want to be, but they're not in the game yet. But what's Daws's wrestling intro music? That's funny.
You just sing it yourself.
I just sing it myself. Yeah, it's different every time. Oh man, what a great gimmick! Actually, that's a great wrestling gimmick, right? Like there's no music. It's just like you just hear me like start humming with the microphone. They're like, "By God, it's Dallas!" And like, this is different every time. You don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm winging it. Okay, I'm trying to go really, really fast because I know we don't have a lot of time on this one. But that's okay. That's okay. That's gonna look slick. I need a little more white paint on my palette. A little more white on the palette. You dry brushing rocks? Yep, I'm dry brushing rocks. This is my happy place. Daz always in the chat. More white. Oh, more. Way more. I actually grabbed the wrong color, but it'll still work. That's my favorite part about painting is when you grab the wrong color and you're just like, I'll just make it work. I'll just make it work. We're just gonna make it happen. Dallas. What paints do you use? I'm currently using, we use Monument, Pro Acryl here in our paint streams, and Brendan, one of our intrepid studio painters who does a great big bulk of the studio paint miniatures that you see online and in marketing. He uses Pro Acryl as well. And what that does is like allows us to like, you know, kind of create recipes to work with and share with each other and be a little more consistent, you know, which is nice. That's nice. Look at the pop on those. And they're super nice paints. So I just talk up my boy Jason Craze now, Summer. Yeah, that's okay, Spidey dude. For studio, right? It's super you know, it's sometimes important because we need to replicate something, right? So studio mentality is different than personal mentality. I don't paint consistently at home. You know, I even like something like where I want to paint something and maintain coherency. I'm a very much close enough is good enough. No one's ever going to be able to tell. But when, you know, studio is a different beast. When you're painting in the studio or painting for a studio, there's just sometimes you need that recipe sort of on lock, because, you know, maybe somebody else has to paint something similar, and you really want those things to look correct next to each other. So it's super important to make sure you're in a studio setting, collecting recipes, developing new recipes, and sharing those with the painters that all work with you. It's just super important, right? I don't know why I pulled that off. That was silly of me. Let's clean this brush. Let's throw paint everywhere. Catching up in the morning, see how it turns out. Strong first day, nighty night, Major Von Rob. Major Von Rob, what a great name. How long you painting? We're going for about another 15 minutes, and then we have a super cool stream that you're going to want to join in on. And then right after that one is another painting stream that if you like this stream, you're going to love that one. If you know what I'm saying. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Let's get some off-white. I want off-white. I want bright ivory. We're going to do a little bit of this and that. So the reason I left all these other parts off, right? I want to leave that off because I want to paint this backdrop. I love having this be super glowy. There's just something about having that little circle just be super duper glowy. And to do that, we want a nice thick layer of bright ivory. Now I can go back and clean that up. Will the next stream be apocalyptic? You gotta say it like that too, Summer. Apocalyptic! I haven't played Binding of Isaac. I'm just sloshing water everywhere. Bark God. Bark God. I'm gonna put on my glove. And let's do a little silver while we're at it. Let's pick out the parts that we want to be metal. So we're going to use bright silver, arch nemesis of dark silver. Let's pick out some places we want to be metallic. I think these cables. And basically while that bright ivory dries, because we're going to paint it. I think the glow color is going to be red. And our goal for our silver will be, if you watch the last, oh, not getting it on the stone. Did you see that, Summer? You didn't see that? It's all right, use a damp brush. And do a little swizzle. Clean it right up. By God, he painted that model in half. Oh, well, you're just going to have to keep watching if you want to know about stuff like that, because I can't tell you or I'll get in trouble. You know, there's one thing I don't do, get in trouble. Why are you laughing at me, Summer? Summer's just giggling away. I don't know if anybody can hear, but Summer's just... That's all he does is get in trouble. What are you talking about? This train does not come with Apocalypse. This is a freestanding train set. And if you want to know more about it, you should tune into the next stream. I can't give away rule stuff. Then what will Pagani talk about? You're so voracious, chat. You're so voracious. Okay, if you were not gonna get in trouble, what could you say? Oh, so much. I like how they're like, oh, you never get in trouble. You should get in trouble. You need to know how that feels. You need to know how that feels. I will say Apocalypse is definitely, how do I want to phrase this? How do I want to phrase this? Just getting a little more silver. I'm just going to do washes on these silvers too. Summer might cut my mic. Summer's been known to cut my mic. What was that question? Something about glows.
Yeah, you get tips on glow effects.
And you get lots of good tips on glow effects, actually. This is our 7th Ministravaganza, if you haven't been counting. Or if you've been watching all of them, Schick is very excited that's the 7th one and has been mentioning it. This is our 7th Ministravaganza. If you want to know about glow effects, you should definitely go back and check out some older Ministravaganza streams. We definitely have some glow effect videos up. We're going to see what we can get done in the next 10 minutes. If this paint dries in here, we'll start doing glow effects on the inside. The silver is just going to be washed. I think we're going to go with like a bronzy gold for the metal, because I think that's going to contrast super nicely against this cold blue, this beautiful blue color. Suggestions to help even out paint colors that often show brushstrokes, i.e. yellows. Transmute up, great question. Underpainting helps a lot. If I'm painting yellows, sometimes I'll do an airbrush of pink first, and then I'll lay on the yellow. Traditionally in the past, the most famous one is lay down color brown, right? Because so think about this as your yellow, right? And think about the most opaque paint you have, right? So like black or gray. The pigment is like, they're like really literally on top of, oh, how's that? A little bit more?
There you go.
The pigment's literally on top of each other. So there's very little space. Like, let me spread my fingers just a little bit. So there's like a little bit of space, right, between the pigment, right? And that's what makes it have a good coat. Is like those pigments are right on top of each other. Yellow naturally has a wider, pigment spacing. That's just the nature of yellow. So when you paint, like say you paint, this is your black primer, and you paint yellow on top, what do you see through the yellow, right? You see the black primer, and that's why it looks thin, right? But if this is black primer and that's gray, you don't see the black primer, right? So if you put brown or ochre, or some, especially ochres. Ochres are amazing because they have amazing coverage, and so you put yellow over it, and you just see ochre, which ochre is a yellow, and it makes it feel like it's full. Pink does the same thing. Browns do the same thing. So that's kind of the trick, is lay a tone down that works well with yellow. So when you put the yellow over top, you just see that same tonality come through, and it works together quite well. Pink, ochre, brown, your flavor, right? It's an artistic choice. It truly is just an artistic choice. Let's go. Speaking of, we're going to do red glow, so I'm going to start with yellow. I'm going to start with transparent yellow. I only got 4 minutes. By God.
Yeah, this went by so fast. Okay.
It went by so fast. But I love all these people. That looks pretty dry. It might not be the driest, but we're going to try. Why does pink work as a yellow undertone? It's light enough. It's light enough that it's not blowing out the yellow, but it also just provides like an amazing sort of tonal change or shade to it. It just works very well. It's warm, right? So you're not creating contrast with you're not creating contrast between hot and cold, and that's what helps make it work. So it's super. It just works really well. Also, just pink is a really good shade color. Actually, if you're paying attention, there's probably some cool atom art going up in between the streams, right? Look at some of the shadows in the atom arts. There are a few, not all of them, that lean pink in the shadows. So that's really what it is. It's this. It's not competing from a contrast. It's around the same value, and it has good coverage. Yeah, Leisure ran a little long. That's okay. It was a big stream. We're not going to run a little long because you're going to want to watch the next stream. It's super, and then the one after that. They all tie together. They all tie together. So we're just going to keep working as much as we can until I get the stop. So the goal here will be red, and the reason I'm doing yellow is because I want to give red something intense to work from, right? I want that intensity, and that's once again, it's that undercoating, that undertone of you put on the yellow, you're going to build up the red. The yellow helps heat the red up, give it some vibrancy and intensity to work from. If I just do red over black, you get dullness. It cools it off, and that's not what you want. So I want some heat and intensity there. Super, super, super important. I think these should be silver as well. I just decided that. And also I forgot to paint them blue. So we're just going to mash. This is paint mash. It's my favorite technique. And we're going to mash it all the way around. Well, we will mash it all the way around. Oh no, we only got 1 minute, right? And then I got to stop. All right, I'm going to paint right up to the end.
Yep.
And then everybody should join in for the next one. What's it called?
The next panel coming up is War Table, Survival of the Fittest.
Survival of the Fittest. What could it be?
Oh.
What could it be? I bet Apocalypse likes horses. Don't you think?
I think so.
I think Apocalypse likes horses. Paint mash silver. That's how you do it. Paint mash the silvers. Well, it's just going to get a wash. It'll get all cleaned up. You can't. You can leave parts off if you want. I was just showing different ways to paint it. That's what today was, just showing different ways to paint, different ways to approach it. I'm hoping to see some variety and see what everybody does. I'd love to see an all metal one, or maybe like a red brick or white brick. Oh, holy cow. That'd be amazing. All right, join us in a few moments. We're getting ready for our next stream. It's called, I forgot the name of it already. Survival of Fists. How did I not know that? So get ready for that. We'll see you in a little bit. Thanks. And have fun. Bye.